Welcome to UVCE Chronicles, an initiative by UVCGA. I am Keshav Karthik, and today we have with us a very special guest with us, Mr. Gopinath Meghashyam, fondly called as Megh. Megh is a 1988 batch alumnus from UVCE from the Department of Mechanical Engineering who went on to pursue his Masters in Computer Science from BITS Pilani, Rajasthan. Then he pursued his Master of Science in Industrial Engineering from Clemson University. Also, he pursued his MBA in General Administration from University of Washington. He served as the Senior Software Development Manager, General Motors until 1999 and now has been associated with Intel Corporation from the last 23 years and currently is General Manager, High Value Segment Product and Sales. Welcome, Meg, to UVC Chronicles.
Glad to be here.
So, Meg, at UC Chronicles, we believe nothing beats a first-hand introduction from the speaker himself. So, could you just speak about yourself in a few words and introduce about your days at UVC and your childhood?
Sure, no problem. So, I my name is Meghashyam. My parents, my dad's name is Gopinath. Pretty much grew up all over India because I'm a CBSE kid, Kendra Vidyalaya, and
Okay,
my dad was in the army. He was in the military engineer services.
okay.
So got to travel all over India. Got to really understand the culture of India between north, south, east, and west.
Mhm.
I've been in Calcutta. I've been in Delhi. I've been in Kerala, Mysore, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, across the board. So really appreciated what a wonderful culture India is, and that's what my growing up years has all have been about.
Mhm.
And then I got settled in Bangalore for some time. The classic engineering that
Mhm.
we had a choice of engineering or medicine, and that was about it. And so I got into engineering, mechanical engineering at UEC, and again a national college product from Baswangudi. Sampatesh Kachar and Vardesh Kachar, they're all great teachers. Learned a lot from them. Uh, High caliber of teaching and personality in general that also shaped my early years. UVC, the journey through UVC was a extreme learning journey about how it was not about the subjects. It's about everything else. How do you interact socially? How do you build lifelong relationships? How do you work through your difficulties together? How is it, it is competitive, but you're still amongst friends. So you all look out for each other, even though you're competing with each other,
Mhm.
right? It was a very interesting dynamics that I have taken with me all through life when I work through on teams and in companies, and tech companies are very competitive. You're competing as a person, but you also have to remember you're only as successful as your team is.
Mhm.
So you have to have a balance of that, and that's a key lesson, valuable lesson that I learned from UEC, right? That has really lasted a lifetime for me.
Mhm.
So value the people who are around you, help them and work with them, work together. Yes, you're competing, but those are relationships that I have even today.
Mhm.
We graduated in '88. Last Friday, I was in Bangalore meeting all of them, right? And each one has become successful in their own way. And yet nobody, never forget your roots.
Mhm.
Be humble, uh, work hard. There's no what shall I say? There is no substitute for hard work.
Mhm.
Right time, right place, all those happen. But work hard, do your best, things will happen. And the rest of the journey is all depending on the opportunity, depending on the location. I had to change my career multiple times, went from mechanical engineering to software to really hardware, double E kind of thing.
Mhm.
So my fundamentals in mechanical engineering, really did not apply until later because I had to change my careers as the opportunities presented themselves.
Okay.
So very interesting. Be open to change
Ah,
would be my
yes.
second key point.
Correct. True.
So hard work, recognize the opportunities, be open to change, and always be humble. Uh, your root. Go back to your roots if in doubt.
mm, mm. Correct. True. As we went through your profile and noticed about your education, you pursued your master's in computer science from BITS Pilani. Then you went on to
Mhm.
pursue your master's in industrial engineering as well. So, was this kind of influence of computer science come during your engineering days, or how did that happen? The shift.
Yes. So very good question, because as I got out of college mechanical engineering, I joined TVS Suzuki and Harita Group. And I
Okay.
was, real doing mechanical engineering stuff, working with
Mhm.
machines and stamping presses and so on. But along the way, there was one PCXT in the office, right? That's just there,
Mhm.
sitting there, and it had AutoCAD on it on
Okay.
command prompt.
Mhm.
And anytime I had some break time, I would start just fiddling with it. And then soon I got so interested in it that I said, you know what, this is an interesting field. Why not I pursue it? And that's how I ended up joining ADA. I left Suzuki and joined ADA,
Okay.
DRDO, as a scientist B. And my job there was CAD CAM, design and drafting and computer aided manufacturing with CNC machines with Fanuc.
Okay.
And right there is when I picked up my programming skills from scratch. I'd never done a line of C code before.
Mhm.
But that's where I got the opportunity to learn C programming. And I knew some basic, whatever we learned in engineering, but nowhere close to professional programming. And as part of converting files from one format to another, it was simple text parsing, converting kind of thing, but still it was programming. So I
Correct.
got interested in programming, and then that led to a master's in computer science from BITS Pilani,
Okay.
focusing on software, more on software and less on the computer architecture.
Mhm.
So it was more software oriented. They called it software systems, computer software systems,
Okay.
to be precise.
Mhm.
So that was, and then the challenge of trying to grow and looking at what's outside India was there for all of us in those days. Not as much now, but those days that was another way to grow. And when I started applying, one of the opportunities was this program in Clemson
Mhm.
University, which was industrial engineering with a focus on user interface design for aircraft cockpits.
Okay. Okay.
And that user interface design part of it intrigued me.
Mhm.
And that's how I got into the industrial engineering, even though the course itself is offered under industrial engineering department.
Okay.
I personally looked at it from the user-centered design point of it because it required software.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's what my research assistantship was also in developing a software for eye tracking
Okay.
and such applications. So industrial engineering primary with a focus on user interface design.
Okay. Okay. That was a very great.
That is the connection there. Yeah. You can see there's a thread, right?
Mhm.
Everything, the opportunity presents on adjacencies. And this is true for your career. This is
Mhm.
true for even businesses. When you run a business, always look for opportunities that are in the adjacencies, and that's how you grow.
Mhm. Mhm. That is
And I
really
know
valuable.
management consultants will give it a very fancy term, but that's basically it. Look for what's closest that gets you to the next area.
Correct, correct. That is a really good advice, sir. So
Yeah.
there is a great development of all the IITs, NITs, and research institutes in India. So would you still prefer masters or education abroad? Uh, I guess you can explain it better because you have a master's degree in India and in abroad as well. Does it make a very big difference in the job seeking industry or in any industry of like seeking opportunities as well?
Yeah. So, masters is an interesting combination. It's a combination of brand and knowledge.
Mhm.
So, depending on which area you want to go in, sometimes the name of the college matters.
Okay.
Yes, of course, there's a level of evaluation you do based on the courses they're offering, based on your area of interest. And to a large extent, the impact of the college is only about 20-30%, and about 70% is you and the students that are in there, right?
Correct.
That's the biggest impact. Now, people choose higher, different colleges for the brand.
Mm.
You know, is a master's from IISc any better than a master's from, say, University of Ohio? I'm just picking a couple of colleges.
Sure.
I would say not really, or vice versa, right? Neither is better than the other. It is what you're looking for in that institution,
Mm.
what you're looking for in the course that's being offered,
Mm.
and what the pedigree looks like, right? It's basically that. The reason why I chose, for example, Clemson was very simple. I knew students who had gone to Clemson. I knew it was an affordable school, and I knew it had a reasonable ranking.
Okay.
And I liked the coursework that
Mm.
they were offering, the combination. If the same thing was available in IASC, would I have chosen it? Probably, right?
Okay.
But it so happened that it was a unique set of elements that matched my desire and my interest. So India is very globally leading, getting there. So I don't think any student should think that a master's from University of Ohio or Pennsylvania State University or Penn State or UPenn or any of these other schools is any different from a master's from a reputable institution in India. There are many, many institutions in India that you have to evaluate. You have to know what they really offer. MS Ramaya is another, good institution. Students going there, and I have a colleague of mine, rather a classmate of mine, who retired there as a professor and head of department in mechanical engineering. So, um, very, very reasonable, choices from India as well.
Mm. You've worked in Intel Corporation from the last 23, 24 years. So
Yeah.
we've been getting many advices from all over the web saying some influencers saying you need to switch your jobs once in 2 years, ask for salary hikes or some advices
Mhm.
like that. So how do you cope up with an organization for such a long time and keep up the same joy and yeah, enjoyment for working over there?
Yeah, I mean, Intel Corporation is so huge that it is multiple jobs within Intel,
Mm.
right? So
Correct.
it depends on the organization. The Intel doesn't just do one thing. You have, and fundamentally as an industry also, they are different in that they are what they call the design and manufacture, right? They're not only a silicon design house, they're also a silicon manufacturing house. It's like combining a company like AMD and TSMC and plugging it together, right? So, given that range, you could be an industrial engineering person coming in and doing very fab level stuff, metallurgical stuff.
Mm.
And then over time, you find that there is this new opportunity in a completely different group, and it's a completely new job, in theory. So, from a knowledge point of view, right, Intel is a company that's got a lot of variety. So that is one reason why I did switch jobs every 3, 4 years, about 4 to 5 years, to learn new things. Salary is a completely different discussion that is driven by market forces,
Mm.
right? You shouldn't look at any position you're in just for the paycheck. You look at it to be the best in what you do. The paycheck will come, opportunities will present themselves, but focus on what you are doing and be the best in it. If you are you want to get into silicon design, be the best in it.
Mm.
Opportunities will present themselves, and to be the best, it takes 5, 7 years.
Mm.
It's not that simple a field. You have to know the ins and outs. Most of my colleagues who are at Intel have been around at least 10 to 15 years before they even decided to switch,
Mm.
for
Okay.
multiple different reasons. Paycheck is, trust me, not the main reason. When you have a family, like if you ask somebody from Bangalore, and tell them, I'll give you X percent more. Will you move to Gurgaon? Think about the number of questions that will pop up in your head. It's like my kids are going to school here. My wife is working at this other company. My parents are here. My dad is 70 years old. I need to take care. All these things come in. So paycheck should not be your primary driver. Your work life balance and your interest in the topic should be the primary driver.
How do you make a career straight out of college, having great networking skills? How to have great networking skills out of college? How to approach off-campus jobs? How to apply them? How to go?
I'm not as familiar as the trends now in Indian colleges on how many institutions come in for interviewing versus out of, and I do not know the what shall I say, the job market per se in India,
Mhm.
but I'll speak to it in general, in general terms.
Sure, sure.
First of all, think of it as you have to be marketable, right? You get out of college and you want to be hired by a company. You have to think about what it is that the company can benefit from you. What skills do you bring that is of immediate value to them?
Mhm.
Is it your ability to write? Have you written some, media elements? Have you done interviews? Have you written a paper on something? Have you shown a specific skill set that you have, even communication or marketing, or being familiar with social media, any number of things, depending on the company you're applying into. Do not expect that they will train you into that job, whether it is on campus, off campus, however you want to define it. You have to have a set of skills that are marketable for that company. A great way to do is to start off is internship. Look for internships, and that's what students in the US do. I don't know the trend in India now.
Mhm.
Ideally, uh, getting to be an intern is always the best way to get a leg up, and start that in your third year summer, during the vacation and breaks. Go work
Correct.
your dad's friend's company for free,
Mhm.
right? You don't have to get paid. You
Yes.
build a level of experience that is marketable, because what you learn in college is not necessarily employable for a company like Infosys that wants to hire. Or I wouldn't say, I'll say Intel. I'll take
Mhm.
my own company, right? And I'm not speaking for Intel. I'm just speaking in general. Disclaimer is that they have to find something useful in the candidates they're hiring, that they can get value out of them right away. Yes, there is some level of training and getting used to and so on, but at the same time, the candidate themselves have to have some skill set that they bring to the table that's valuable. It could be communication skills, it could be media skills, it could be uh, acts of leadership that they have done during it's not just a 4.0 GPA.
Mhm.
To be blunt, you're not a bookworm. You are a mix of everything that a company looks for.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, sir. That really
Okay,
makes sense.
hope that helps.
Yes, yes, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
even your expertise here, right? This is a great example of showing leadership. Running a media interview. These are valuable skills that companies understand, and will already put you above a competitive field.
oh, okay, sir. That is
Yeah, so this is
really
good. Yeah,
yes. So,
and
yeah,
you know what this also helps you do is helps you build your network.
yeah,
Now you know so many leaders in the industry that you can directly send a note to. It's better off than a random resume.
true, sir. It is better than cold mailing any of the
Yeah,
people. Correct,
exactly. Right.
correct,
Now, if I get a resume from Keshwa Karthik, I know, I've spoken to you. So I'll at least take a look at it.
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Meg, you seem to have a knowledge of eight or more than eight languages. So, does
Yeah.
this thing help in the industry, or is it just for your own pleasure?
It's a little bit of both. It helps break the ice,
Hmm.
but most of the business is conducted in English, as you know.
Yes.
But it helps build your relationship and networking. ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ತಮಿಳು பேச தெரியும், Bengali bolte pari, Telugu, I can follow. I can, if I stay there for a month in Hyderabad, I can pick it up. Half of my friends speak Telugu.
Mhm.
Hindi to bol leta hu. English, of course, I can speak. Chut-chut Ruski Peruski, right? So I speak Russian as well. My wife is from Ukraine, so I picked that up. I can follow that. I can say Dobra Utra. I can say Spokojной Nochi. I can say Очень хорошо. I can say, all these, transactional languages. Sanskritam, of course, we all grow up speaking some level of Sanskrit, and I can speak Sanskrit as well. At home, my mom was a master's in Sanskrit,
Okay.
so she used to encourage for all of us speaking in Sanskrit at home.
Mhm.
Vartalapam kartum, it's like all those things. It just goes on. You speak it, you'll pick it up. So it is also, I guess, my personal interest.
Hmm.
I like picking up new languages as time permits, and I enjoy it. I enjoy English language just as much as I enjoy Kannada. I'll speak a few words in Kannada for the Kannada audience.
Sure, sure.
Um, ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಭಾಷೆನ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸದೆ ಒಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷನಾದರೂ ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಅದೊಂದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಆ, ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಒಂದು ತರಹ. ಈಗ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್ ಹಳೆ ಆ, ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಿರರ್ಗಳವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಕೇಳೋಕೆ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಒಂದು ಚೂರು ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಪದಾನೇ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬಾರದು. ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ
Yes,
me and my brother and my mom used to try and do that. It gets difficult, believe it or not.
exactly.
Try it.
Yes, yes. It's pretty difficult. We just casually pick up English words between our
Yeah,
conversations, and yeah, the nativeness of
yeah,
the language is lost somewhere.
agreed. There was in UVC a librarian who would not speak a word of English to us.
Okay.
If you go to the library, there's so many words that you're used to talking in English,
Mhm.
starting with the word library. Granthalaya anta pada upayogisokke it took us some time.
Correct.
Checking in a book, checking out a book. Think about what the Kannada word is for that,
Correct.
right? So the
Okay.
librarian that I still remember, we had
Mhm.
that UVC nalli Somari Katte anta untu. It's like right in front of the library. So you
Okay.
used to all hang out there. But that was the library. It's really fun.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great. So, what is the next big thing in the processing technology? How would it be for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, so this is coming into the specific field of compute. Now, compute has many elements. The earlier compute started out, and I'll give you some background from an Intel point of view
Yes.
or from compute point of view. There was, they started reducing the sizes as, measured as nanometers, right?
Yes.
It
Yes.
went from 64, went down, came all the way, 28, 14, 10, 7, 3, 2. It just keeps reducing, right? That's just Moore's law, the way it works. The transistor size, whatever it is, doubles every, the capacity doubles every 2 years, or the size reduces every, X amount of months. Now, as it gets more and more challenging as things progress, right? Obviously, the laws of physics are kick in, what is minimally possible or not. But going forward, there is global political, economic um, elements at play here, given the ability of a country to drive its own destiny in terms of compute. Now, that's the big element that is at play here. There is a lot of, I don't know if you read the book, The World is Flat, right? There is, if you want to build a computer, there's, I think, 170 countries involved to really put together a computer in terms of the components in the supply chain. But a large part of it comes from who finally manufactures it. Today, a big percentage is manufactured by TSMC. You know, they do a wonderful job. They've been at it. They're the leaders in the space. But there's always the fear that what if it's a single point of failure, if you just think about it, right? So what is an alternative to that? There's only, there's a Samsung, there is Intel for the latest technologies, and then you have a few others, Global Foundry coming in, and then you have some Chinese companies. India doesn't have a manufacturing capability today. So no matter how much India wants to take the leadership in it, when it comes to its core technology and their defense equipment that really uses technology, they are dependent in some other country. So yes, there's an initiative from the government to drive some of the semiconductor technology in, and I saw Micron is making a big investment in, I believe, in Gujarat area. There's a few others, but in my opinion, that's the biggest area of focus from an infrastructure point of view, from a self-capability make in India point of view, that I think is a key area of focus. And if you look at your cars today, they're all software-defined vehicles. There is a chip in there. So if you can't make the chip, the car doesn't run.
Correct.
Simple.
Yes.
Right? It's no longer your ambassador in Fiat where everything was mechanical. There's very little. I don't think there was any software in it. If I'm not mistaken, the ambassadors had carburetor that was manually adjusted with a screw. There was no software control. There's not even fuel injection. So none of that control. And fuel pump mechanical, your belts and timing chains, cam rods, they're all mechanical.
Yes.
Starter switch maybe was the electrical part, your alternator and the battery, but there was no software. It's all analog. Yeah. But today's car, you take any car on the road today in India, all they have some, starting from the dashboard, it's all electronic. It's a digital dashboard. So I think that's a very key area of focus for from a chip manufacturing and make in India point of view.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Megh, for giving out your
Welcome.
time from your busy schedule, making out time to give advice for the people from your college, helping out them in the career, giving you valuable advice that has been hardened so that who are listening to this podcast, who are accessible to this podcast, they can accept your learnings which you have done in the hard way and implement them in their career so that they can move ahead a little easier. So that was a very good life advice, also career advice from your side. So thank you very much for this thing, and we can just hope to end this meeting. Thank you.
Good, very good. So my key points that I said, one is always be willing to work hard. There are no shortcuts. Always look for adjacency opportunities, right? Look at work-life balance. It's pretty important. And be open to change, right? Don't say that I'm a mechanical engineer, I will not touch software.
Correct, exactly. I guess this four mantra thing will be very much useful for all of our batchmates and college
Good.
friends. Yes,
Okay.
sure.
And hello to all the newcomers. All the best in your careers, and hopefully this helps you make some good decisions. And all the best.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.